Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, June the 24th, right? The 24th? Yeah, it's the 24th. I hope so, because those are the Psalms that I was looking at this morning. And let me just say good morning to everybody. Good morning, Mama. Love you. It's good to see you on here this morning. Good morning to Jenny and to Kathleen. Good morning. Someone I grew up with, Jennifer. She has a different last name than I remember, Jennifer Polk. But good morning, Jennifer. And good morning to Lauren and David and Levi and Valor and Haven and Everett, to Ron and Amy. Good morning, you guys. Sonia, good morning. We're praying, continuing to pray for Naum, and we love you. Good morning, Sarah. Love you, and we're praying for your grandpa. Good morning to Steve and and to Ellen and Richard. Good morning, you guys, and Pastor and Sister Martinez. I love you guys. Good to see you on here this morning. And to Ruti and to Patty. Good morning, Patty. We're continuing to pray for you and your mom, and for Pat and Lori and Carol. Good morning. And so we're going to look at the Psalms this morning that, we every day we go through at least one of the 5 Psalms for the day. So today's Psalms are 24, 54, 84, 114, and 144. We take the date, the 24th, and just add every 30th Psalm there. And so we're going to look at these Psalms this morning. Good morning, John and Jan. I just saw you on here. Love you guys. Hope you're doing well. And so this morning we're going to, the thing for me is there is a really strong connection between all of these. And so I do want to look at all of them this morning to just go through them. And I want to start this morning in Psalm 54. Because the starting, I guess the reason I want to start there is it's the starting point of David crying out to the Lord. There's a struggle that he's facing, and so starting from kind of being in the pit or being on the run is where it starts. And so it's David when the Ziphite, he's hiding among the Ziphites, and they've gone and told Saul. The story's in 1 Samuel 23 if you want to look at it. And so he says, "Oh God, save me by your name." And again, God's name, God's reputation, his name is all of his act to call him to say, "Save me by your name," right? He is, he was, he is, he always will be, and he will be who he is. He is who he is. He will be who he will be. There's nothing that can change the character of God. So when Moses said, "Show me your glory," the glory of the Lord is the character of the Lord, and his name envelops all of that. So he comes before Moses in Exodus 34 and says, to show Moses his glory, puts him in the cleft of the rock and passes before him and says, "Adonai, Adonai," and says his name, "I am who I am, I will be who I will be, Adonai, Adonai." And then it's gracious and compassionate, overflowing in chesed, which is love, covenant loyalty, love and faithfulness, overflowing in truth. Generous, compassionate, merciful, forgiving sin and iniquity, and yet being a God of justice who does not let the guilty go unpunished. And so you see all of that. So he says, "Oh God, save me by your name, by who you are. Vindicate me by your might." Like that you would come and bring justice. That word to vindicate has to do with to bring what is right, to bring what is just by your might. "Oh God, hear my prayer. Listen to the words of my mouth. For strangers have risen up against me. Violent men seek after my soul. They do not set God before them. Selah." And if you'll remember from yesterday in Psalm 53, the previous psalm, he says, "The fool has said in their heart, there is no God." And it talks about those who live, who do not set God before them. So these are those who are living as though God himself doesn't exist. But the psalmist is calling out to the Lord, looking to the Lord, remembering the name of the Lord, remembering the character of God. And so now there's a declaration of trust. Surely God is my helper. And the word there is ezer. So that's the word that's used in Genesis when the Lord describes what the woman is to be to the man. When a helper and this revealer of the enemy, the one who comes alongside and you're going side by side. So here the Lord is the one who comes, and he is the one who is my helper. He is my ezer. My Lord is the supporter of my soul. He is the one who holds me up. He is the one that I lean against. The one that, and when it speaks of my soul, is my nephesh, the very center of my being, the me of me. The Lord is the one who holds me up when I'm falling over, but he is my helper. He is the one that I lean upon. So here, verse 7, let evil return to my foes, or the idea would be recoil upon them. Let the rubber band go backward. What they intend for me, may it go back on them. He says, silence them with your truth. So let truth prevail. Let silence the lies, silence the enemy with your truth. He then makes this commitment, I will sacrifice a free will offering to you. I will praise your name, Adonai, for it is good. Your name is good. Who you are is good, and I will praise you. And I will do so from a free will offering over and above the requirements of the law. I want to bring the fruit of my lips, bringing praise, because I know that you are good, and all that you are good. For he has delivered me from all trouble, and my eye has gazed upon my enemies. And so there is a declaration of trust, a declaration of hope, a calling upon the Lord. And so I want to go back now to Psalm 24, which is Psalm today. Two of the Psalms today, Psalm 24 and Psalm 84, are two of my favorites. But Psalm 24 is a powerful psalm, and so it's a psalm of David. Remember who we're calling upon, right? So David's he's being pursued by those who have not set God before them, but he's calling on the Lord, and so his trust is in the Lord. And so Psalm 24 says, "The earth is Adonai's, and all that fills it, the world and those dwelling on it." So it's this declaration, this recognition of who God is, that this earth, that the cosmos, that the world, the universe is his. Everything in it, we are his. We are his. All that you see is his. He is the creator. He is over all. And it's this declaration, this reclamation, as it were, of all that you see, for him to say, this is yours, Lord. For he founded it, he founded it upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. And again, when you look at in the scripture, when it talks about the seas and the rivers, and there's this, the power of the seas is uncontrollable. Humanity cannot control, there's a level, the seas. And so there's this power and almost chaos that's often associated with the seas. And so the Lord founded, established order over what we can't control. He established order on it. He founded it upon the seas. So the chaos has to submit to him. Verse 3, who may ascend, who may go up on the mountain of Adonai? Who may stand in his holy place? One with clean hands and a pure heart, who has not lifted up his soul in vain, nor sworn deceitfully. Who can be in your presence? The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it. Who can enter into your presence? And then it says, basically, one whose actions are clean, whose hands are clean. But not just what you do, but whose heart is pure, whose heart is clean. That the overflow of your heart is coming forth from your life. Right, that you have clean hands, but it's not a dirty cup, a clean cup on the outside with a dirty cup inside. That what's happening on the outside is the overflow of something that's happening on the inside. one who has not lifted up his soul, who his being in emptiness or up to emptiness. You know, in the next chapter, Psalm 24, the next psalm opens up with, says, to you, Adonai, I lift up my soul. I lift up my being to you. I offer myself up to you. So the one who can enter into your holy place is one who has not offered himself up to all the vanity of this world, to the emptiness of this world, to the false gods of this world, to whether they be stone gods of the ancient world or monetary gods or the gods of humanity or worshiping men of power, worshiping people, worshiping ourselves. It's all empty. It's all vain. And it says one who has not lifted up his being to this emptiness, and nor sworn deceitfully. So there's an honesty, there's a purity, and your words are true. There's no trickery that's happening here. He will receive a blessing from Adonai, righteousness from God, his salvation. Such is the generation seeking him, seeking your face, even Jacob. Selah. So that's, he's saying that's who we are. And you see here that the one who comes with a heart that is in pursuit of God, seeking your face, seeking after you. Obviously, we in and of ourselves, we don't, all of our heart is not fully pure. Our hands aren't totally clean, right? And so, but to bring to God a heart that is in pursuit of purity, a life that is in pursuit of walking in obedience to him, will receive from him righteousness, that he will give us what we cannot bring to him, that he will give that to us and we'll receive a blessing from him. This is the generation of those who are pursuing you, seeking your face, seeking to know you. To seek your face is to know you. You know, when you talk about when you're talking to someone, there's a big difference when you're on the phone versus when you're FaceTiming someone, right? When you see their face, you get their words, right? You get context. You can read on the face of one that you know. If you know them, you can read in their face and understand what's in their heart by their countenance often. And so this one is look at the generation of those seeking to know you so well, Lord, that I can discern what is in your heart, that I can discern when something displeases you. I can discern when something pleases you, to seek your face, to know you. So now this one is, David is now, as he comes to who can ascend to the hill of the Lord? So coming now to the presence of God, coming to the holy place. Now it is this, the king, now the king arrives, and you open the gates. Lift up your heads, O gates. Be lifted up, you everlasting doors, you doors from all eternity. The opening, the dwelling place of the living God, that the gates themselves would be lifted up to worship God, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? Adonai, strong and mighty. Adonai, mighty in battle. So you have this picture of the Lord, who the earth is his and all that dwells in it, and now as we come into his place, he is the one who fights for us. He is strong and mighty. The one who is coming is mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O gates, and lift them up, you everlasting doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is this King of glory? Adonai Tzevaot, Adonai, the Lord of hosts, the Lord of angel armies. He is the King of glory. So there's this majestic focus on entering into the throne room of God and the worship and the glory of who he is. This is the generation of those seeking your face. And so you go to Psalm 84, and Psalm 84 is, well, actually, let's go to Psalm 114 first, and then we'll go back to Psalm 84. Psalm 114 is one of, now we're in the Great Hallel, and it's titled here, Passover Song. It says, when Israel came out of Egypt, Jacob's house, from a people foreign speaking, this picture of a language that was incomprehensible, It just gives you this. It paints this picture of being in a land that is how you say that is it's disconcerting when you don't have stability, when you can't understand the language. If you've ever traveled abroad in a place that you can't understand, you don't feel steady, you don't feel solid, you don't feel at home, you feel very out of place. And so that's the picture being painted here, even though the people would have understood Egyptians, but it's saying we were not in our own place, a people foreign speaking. So that when the Lord took us out of that place, Judah became his sanctuary. Like, we became his dwelling place. We became his sanctuary. Israel, his dominion. The sea saw and fled. The Jordan turned back. The mountains skipped like rams, the hills like lambs. So now you have this picture of that which is powerful, that which is uncontrollable, right? The sea, the rivers, the mountains, the hills, that they're skipping, they're leaping, that which is powerful and uncontrollable is fleeing from him. It's the picture of the waters responding to God, that when he comes, when the King of Glory comes, right, that he comes and that which is powerful submits to him, worships him, praises him. The sea saw and fled. The Jordan turned back. The mountains skipped like rams. The hills like lambs. Now, verses 5 and 6, both in TLV and the NIV, they translate it as like past tense, like a perfect tense, but it's an imperfect tense. So it's like this ongoing. It brings us into the present, actually. So we know that the sea fled and the rivers turned back, the Jordan turned back, that the mountains skipped, the hills like lambs. But now the question brings us into the present, actually. That what God did then and the way things responded to him then happen now as well. So there's a powerful question here. Why is it, O sea, that you fled? Why is it that you fled, or why is it that you flee? Why is it, O Jordan, that you turn back? O mountains, that you skip like rams, O hills like lambs. The God who makes all of creation submit to that all of creation worships him and is like a little lamb before him. He is still Lord of all, and everything must still respond to him in that way. Verse 7, tremble, O earth, shake, O earth, at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob, who turned the rock into a pool of water, the flint into a spring of water. So now there's this declaration to the seas and to the rivers and to the mountains and to the lambs and to all the earth and to all that are in it. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it. Tremble at the presence of the Lord, at the face of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob, who can take a rock and from a rock, from a place that you run into a dead end, that he can bring forth life-giving water, that he can bring forth life-giving sustenance from a rock and from the flint, turning the flint into a spring. And so that, again, if in my own heart as I was praying through these Psalms this morning, that picture of being David and on the run and being in a place of difficulty and saying, Lord, we need you, and then focusing on him, focusing on who it is that fights for us. And so let's go to Psalm 144. Psalm 144. It's a psalm of David. It says, blessed be Adonai, my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. He is my loving kindness, my fortress, my strong tower, and my deliverer, my shield in whom I take refuge, who subdues my people under me. Okay, so now you have David. It's a Psalm of David, 144, and it's going to be very familiar to us because it's much of the language, much of what we're reading here is similar to what we would have read in Psalm 18, but there's a slight difference. Because, he opens up with the same language, to the Lord who trains my hands for battle, who trains my fingers for war. But so the Lord is training me, but he himself is he is my chesed, like all that is good. When you read in here and it talks about the godly, it's the word chasid, which has to do with the chesed, the love of the Lord. So the godly are those who reflect the Lord. Well, he is the source of that any of my godliness, any of the chesed in me that is a reflection of him, is him in my life. He is my loving kindness. He is my fortress, right? He is the one, my strong tower, my deliverer, all of that. Like, my full dependence is on him. Though he trains my hands for battle, what we're going to know at the end of this is that he is the one who fights for me. That when you pray like David in Psalm 54, you know that the Lord is my helper, that he is the one who holds me up, who supports me. He is my everything. He's the one who subdues people under me. Verse 3, Adonai, what is... Now he begins to get this perspective. A clear perspective, an eternal perspective, considering who he is, who his enemies even are, versus the Lord, who the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. He says, Adonai, what is man that you take note of him? Or the son of man that you consider him, that you bring him to mind? Man is like a breath. His days are like a passing shadow. Now, in Psalm 18 now, it says things like, Adonai parted I called to the Lord. I was deep in the, and I called to the Lord, and he rode the chariots. He parted the heavens, and he came down. So now, he's saying, I need you again. Now there's this imperative. It's not declaring something that happened before. It's, I need you now, Lord. Lord, will you come now? Adonai, Lord, part your heavens and come down. Touch the mountains, touch the mountains so that they smoke. Flash forth lightning and scatter them. Send out your arrows and confuse them. Stretch forth your hands from on high and snatch me. Deliver me out of deep waters, right? It's rising. And I need you now, Lord. I need you right now. Would you, Lord, part the heavens, come down, touch the mountains, make them smoke, send your arrows, confuse the enemy, and come, and where I'm at, I'm about to drown. Would you snatch me? Would you grab me up? Would you bring me to yourself? Snatch me out of deep waters, out of the hands of foreigners, out of that which is surrounding me that I don't recognize and I don't understand what I'm hearing. Whose mouth speaks falsehood, whose right hand is a hand of deceit. I'm surrounded, being drowned by something I don't recognize, but it's not true, and it's everything that it does is rooted in deception. Its right hand is a hand of deceit. He then praises, God, I sing a new song to you on a 10-string harp. I sing praises to you who gives salvation, who brings deliverance to kings, who rescues your servant David from the evil sword. Snatch me, rescue me, deliver me out of the hands of foreigners whose mouth speaks falsehood, whose right hand is a hand of deceit. So there's this double, I need you, Lord, and to rescue me from this. Then there's this assurance. Then our sons, our children, but our sons will be like plants nurtured in their youth. Our daughters, like corner pillars carved for the construction of a palace, that they will be strong, that our daughters will be strong and upright, that our sons will be life-giving and nurturing, and our daughters will be women of strength, like a pillar in a palace, holding up the house. our storehouses, when you come down, when you intervene, when you come and break the deceit, that you break those who, you break send out your arrows and you confuse the confusers, that those whose mouths are full of deceit and falsehood, that those whose right hands are to do deceit, when you break it, then there will be life-giving sustenance and strength. Our storehouses are full, supplying every kind of produce. Our flocks increase by thousands and 10,000s in our fields. Our oxen bear a heavy load. There is no breach, no going into captivity, no outcry in our streets. Happy are such a people. Blessed are the people whose God is Adonai. And so there's this powerful picture of, Lord, would you come? And of this ultimate picture of no more going into captivity, of being rescued and being delivered and being everything parting, right? The hills and the rivers and the seas going backward, and the hills and the mountains skipping like lambs and rams, and God coming in and snatching us out and setting us in a place that is fruitful, so that the generations that come forth from us are life-giving and are strong, and there is sustenance, and we no longer are returned to captivity. It's a powerful psalm. So that brings us to the closer this morning, is Psalm 84. Psalm 84. How lovely are your tabernacles, Adonai Tsevaot. So this is considered to be one of the pilgrimage psalms. This is 3 times a year the people of Israel were to travel to make a pilgrimage to the place where God will put his name. Right? So it was Jerusalem is the place where God would put his name. But the issue isn't the place as much as the Lord, the place where he has his glory is. Who may enter into, who can ascend to the hill of the Lord? Lift up your gates. Lift up your gates, O you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. That we want to enter into the presence of the Lord. And so as we begin to make this journey, making this journey from the place where we are to the place where he is, we begin to meditate on the presence of God. How lovely are your tabernacles, O Lord. Adonai Tsevaot, the Lord of hosts, mighty in battle, right? Adonai, the Lord of angel armies. My soul, my being, my nephesh, I don't lift up to emptiness. My soul yearns, even faints, for the courts of Adonai. My heart and my flesh sing for joy to the living God. Even the sparrow has found a home, and the swallow a nest for herself, where she may lay her young, near your altars, Adonai Tsevaot, my King and my God. And so you have this picture, and I've talked about this before. I love this imagery of in the walls surrounding the temple, and in the altars themselves. The altars are made of stones and of rocks, and there are crags in the rocks, and there are places where the birds have now made a nest in the walls of Jerusalem, or in the altars, in the stone altars. And it says, boy, I'm a little bit jealous of the birds, is what he's saying. I long, faint for the courts of the Lord. I mean, even the birds, they get to dwell there, a place where they can raise their young in near your presence, Lord. Right? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to dwell. That's where I want to live. Blessed are they who dwell, verse 5, blessed are they who dwell in your house. They are ever praising you. And there's this longing for the presence of the Lord. And I don't know about you, I long for the presence of the Lord. And where we're saying, Lord, what's going on? What's going on around us? And it feels like the water is rising up, and we say, part the heavens, come down, snatch us up. We want to be in your presence. We want to be in the place where you are, Lord. Lord, that you would confuse the lies of the enemy, and that we would know what you say, when we would hear your truth. Give us ears to hear your word and a heart to do your will. Blessed is the one, verse 6, blessed is one whose strength is in you, in whose heart are the pilgrim roads. Blessed is the one who finds their strength in you, and that what is in their heart is the journey, right? So back to Psalm 24, where it says, such is the generation seeking your face, O God of Jacob. That what's coming from your heart is a desire to walk and to have clean hands and a pure heart. Such is the desire of those. In your heart is the pilgrim road, the road to make the journey to the presence of the Lord. That I'm in a foreign place. I'm in a place that is not home. I'm in a place where I am, this is not where I plan to end up, but I am in pursuit of you. Blessed are those whose strength is in you and whose heart are the pilgrim roads. Passing through the valley of Baca, they make it a spring. The early rain covers it with blessings. And so they're passing through this valley, and so what they do is they dig down. They dig down to make it a spring through seasons of dryness on this journey, but the Lord sends his rain to cover it with blessings. They go from strength to strength, right? So from step by step, from glory to glory, dwelling in their strength is in you. In their heart is the desire to pursue you, and our righteousness comes from you. And we're going step by step, from strength to strength in this journey to seek your face. They go from strength to strength. Every one of them appears before God in Zion. Adonai Tzevaot, Lord of hosts, hear my prayer. Give ear, O God of Jacob. O God, look at our shield and look upon the face of your anointed. For a day in your courts is better than 1,000 elsewhere. I'd rather stand at the threshold of the house of God than dwell in the tents of wickedness, than recline, than sit comfortably in the tents of wickedness. I'd rather stand guard, even if it's uncomfortable, at the entrance of your dwelling place, O Lord. I just want to be close to you. I'd rather be uncomfortable close to you than comfortable in the tents of the wicked. For Adonai, Elohim, is a sun and a shield. Adonai gives grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from those who walk uprightly. Adonai Tzevaot, blessed is the one who trusts in you. Our eyes are on you. Our praise is of you. The earth is yours, Lord, and all that is in it. Our trust is in you. Lord, our hope is in you. The earth trembles at your coming. Oh, that your presence would fill our homes, would fill our lives, would fill this place, Lord. Lord, that you would confuse the lies of the enemy, and that your word would prevail, and that your truth would spring forth. Our trust is in you, and our hope is in you. Amen. Amen. Well, I want to say hello to everyone else who I may have missed. So good morning to Joyce and to Joe. Good morning to Kelly and to Mary Lou. It's good to see you guys on here this morning. And to the Porters, good morning to Isaiah and Micah and Susan and Gabriella and Ezekiel and Luke. Good morning, you guys. And to Jim and Sarah and Nicole and to Sonia, good morning. And to Levi Aton, it's good to have you on here this morning. Welcome. Look, hey, more than anything, in the midst, and the Clausens, good morning. Sorry about that. Almost missed you. I see Cher is on here this morning, but good morning also to Elizabeth and Jesse and Salome and Philip. Good morning, you guys. All right, I think let me double check. Maybe I went down too far. Oh, Deanna and Willis, I see. Okay, now I know, because now I see John and Jan. So, all right, good morning, Deanna and Willis. Okay, well, hey, let's keep seeking him, keep having the road in our heart to pursue him, not to pursue anyone else, not to pursue the voice of anyone else, not to be shaken by the lies of the enemy, but like David in Psalm 54, to be able to say, Lord, you are my helper. You are the one who holds me up. I'm pursuing you All the earth must submit to him. And so we're gonna lead by walking in his ways, by saying, Lord, give us clean hands and a pure heart. Let us not lift our soul to another, to emptiness, right? Give us clean hands and a pure heart. And that's what we're after. Sometimes I hear our tendency is to when things are done to us, people in our lives, or things are done in a way that feels like they're enemies to us, is to say, well, they do this, so I'm going to do it back to them. And that's not what we're called to do. We're not called to do unto them as they have done unto us, right? We're called to say, Lord, give us clean hands and a pure hearts. Let us not follow the examples of those who are walking in the flesh. Let us follow the examples of those, or let's set an example by walking in the Spirit, by being led of the Spirit, by not letting our responses to things come forth from our flesh, but to be led by the Spirit. And what is the fruit of the Spirit, and what are the works of the flesh? And to look at that and to meditate on that, and to say, hey, the works of the flesh there's rage, and there's anger, and there's all of this other stuff, but the fruit of the Spirit is love and joy and peace and goodness and kindness and gentleness and self-control, right? Slow to angerness. There can be a righteous indignation, but let's watch the condition of our hearts. Let's say, Lord, give us clean hands and a pure heart. The earth is the Lord's and all that's in it, and I want to be yours and all that's in me. Amen? Amen. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a great Wednesday, you guys. To find you in the place you're